Dala. Welcome back. I hope you are enjoying your weekend. I wanted to just pop in and give you and just have a chat with you. I think that's it's been a while since I've usually had my sit down videos where I just chat with you and we exchange a little bit. And I thought this was an important time to do it because there's a lot of stuff coming up. So there's basically 5 points, so 5 things I wanted to share with you guys, and of course, hear what you have to say. This is what I'm making this video so I can hear what your input is based on those different points. The first is just to let you know I'm reading the comments as usual, and I'm looking at the messages that I'm receiving from you guys, and I'm trying to always find a middle ground between what is being asked and what I can physically do. And you'll understand a bit further why this is like always a question of adjusting and balancing all the time. For those of you who have been on this channel for a long time, you know that for me, YouTube is not my primary focus. I do have a life outside of it. I do have a job. I have a family to take care of. Recently married, as I was mentioning in some of my updates. So YouTube is basically, for me, a wonderful outlet to be able to exchange with all of you, to be able also to exchange with some of my clients, some of my long-term people that I've been working with. And obviously, I know that I have received a lot of comments about this little question, particular to this, but currently I am not offering any long-term work. I'm not working with anyone long-term at this time, just because it's not physically possible. I just have too much on my plate. I do expect to start back up and to put back together the women group that we used to have, and to have also more one-on-one consultation, as well as something specifically for people who want to get into the practice of things. But that's not going to be for this year. I'm more looking to 2025 or 2026. But more like 2025 to get you at least started so that you're more prepared for 2026 and further. So yeah, so for those of you who ask, that's kind of where I am. It is possible, I'm not crossing it out, that if I manage to find some extra time at the end of this year or beginning of 2025, that I may also do a self-taught course where you'll be able to get the videos and start, especially for those who want to learn more about spirituality or practice, the type of practice, especially in the Bamileke tradition, if you want to more, or it's not going to be for you to be a practitioner of the Bamileke tradition. As I've mentioned to you, you cannot get into this tradition. It's not a religion, so you cannot just start practicing and be part of the tradition, because a big chunk of the Bamileke tradition is honoring your ancestors and honoring them because of the Bamileke and furthering that tradition. So if you don't have any Bamileke ancestors, it's going to be hard for you to just jump in. However, there's a lot in the Bamileke tradition that you can learn, a lot of principles that you can learn and that you can use for your own spiritual practice, either to start a practice or maybe things that can help you in the practice that you already have, or the tradition that's from your own ancestors. Okay, so I think in that way, that course may be helpful for people who are Bamileke already, no matter where you are in the world, or who are marrying into the Bamileke tradition, or whose children are marrying into that tradition. If you want to better understand and explore, and who basically are going to have their life tied with the Bamileke tradition, because you'll have somebody from the tradition, from that culture, tied into your personal life. So you have a personal stake into why you're practicing and why you're trying to understand. And as I mentioned, this is going to be something for people who the level of knowledge I will put in, it will be so that people who don't know anything about tradition or anything about workings or spirituality or energy can understand and can get started very safely, in a safe way. So that may be a compromise, but again, it would depend on how much time I do have. I do that. I know that this is an outlet that I've created in order to share things initially with my clients from the consultation that I was doing when I was back in Montreal and when I first started this particular journey. But as time went by, I also realized it's also a great outlet for me to share so that my children and the children of my children will able to have some resources and things that I'm teaching to them at home, that I will teach them at home, that they will always be able to refer to through those videos and through the material and the courses and et cetera, et cetera. And I think, I wish, for those of you who know, my grandmother passed a few years ago, and these are the type of things I wish I had an outlet like that with the wealth of knowledge that she had. But I'm not complaining because the time I had and the knowledge that she imparted on me while she was here is plenty. And her memories, even though it's not in any videos, live within myself and within the memories that I have of her in my heart, not just in my mind, but also in my heart. So that's why this channel is very dear to me. This is also why I received some questions about, doing Vlogmas and things like that. If you see, the rhythm of this channel is very different from other YouTube channel, even other spiritual YouTube channel. I watch YouTube just like you guys, and you'll see that in upcoming videos and in upcoming things, I will share with you some of the other YouTubers that I watch that you may be interested in a variety of topics, because I watch anything from gardening to cooking to other spiritual channel, etc. So I'll try to give you for the mini series a bunch of channel of references that you can do. Maybe some of them you're already watching as well. So, but the point was that the rhythm here is very different, because what I share with you is things that I've lived. I'm not sharing with you things that I think may work or that I've heard of, and that's just theoretical ideas. I'm trying to share with you life experiences, first-hand knowledge or second-hand knowledge when I was able to observe other things, so that you can at least have be grounded that I had went through the things that I'm telling you. If I'm sharing a tool with you, this is something I've already used. This is something I've already, for the most part, practiced, mastered, and that, if you have an issue with it, you can contact me and I'll be able to help you face it whatsoever. So that's the first reason. That's the reason why I don't have a set schedule, because, life happens, and there are things that I may be dealing with in my personal life, my professional life, or esoteric life or spiritual life that I need to attend to. And I usually wouldn't come to YouTube and share with you guys something that I'm going through. I would rather go experience it, finish it, and then have the time to reflect on it, process it, and then I can come and share that with you. I'm not excluding that it's possible if I face something in the future, and that I may share it with you as I'm facing it. But so far, my approach has been to process things before I come and present them to you. Of course, it always means that I don't know everything. I always tend to underline this. I don't know everything, and I don't aim to know everything. My goal in my journey is not to learn everything about everything in this life. My goal is to hopefully receive the information I need that will be useful on my path. So there are things that I don't know. There are things that I don't necessarily want to know, because there's also areas, places, entities that I don't necessarily want to deal with, that I don't necessarily want to deal with or want to be aware of. So this is a bit of dynamic that's going on. So if you have something that's different in your tradition, that's different in your experience or in your path, I'm very open and welcoming to becoming aware of learning from that, because through this outlet, I also realized that there is a reason why this channel, that I was called to create this channel very specifically on YouTube. And if you go back to some of my other videos, I explain why initially for me, I'm somebody who's more of a behind-the-scene person. But then when I started doing consultations, I started working with people, it kind of was a calling that manifested without me looking for it, where I found myself having, you know, 1 or 2 people, and then those people talk to other people who talk to other people, where it became a crowd, where I was having workshops and things like that. But it's not something that I thought that I was going to do in my life. But as I start doing it, I'm seeing through the comments, but also through the clients, when the clients overcome something, has an enlightenment, or just turn their life around and are striving, it really confirms basically the importance of the work that I'm doing. So this is why sometimes when I ask and I say, you know, if I ask a question, I say, would you be interested in this topic or that? For me, even if just one of you say yes, it's sufficient for me to make the video and to do the work. Because before I even ask you guys, the reason when there's a topic that comes to me, it's something that I'm being called to share, and I kind of want to verify sometimes and say, okay, where is this coming from? Why do I need to share? Would they be interested? And the fact that at least one of you say, yes, I will be interested to know, then that gives me an okay to say, okay, I'm going to put some time aside and put together a video on that. Now, if you've seen my video format is really, I've been pulled back. As you know, before, it was a bit easier for me when I was just on camera. I just filmed the video, I speak to you directly, you see me, I see you. And the edits is a little bit less, even though they're still editing. You can't go around not editing your videos, and editing takes a lot of time. But it's a bit different, you know. I scale back also on all of the intros and all of that. The one that I have now is basically the format that I'm using that's working very well for me, and that's helping me in my schedule when I need edit time. So that's why you're not gonna see, you know, this channel. If you're looking for a spiritual channel that has a lot of graphics and a lot of different like that, animation and things like that, you're not gonna be able to find that here. At least not at the moment, because that's not where my head is at. A lot of time when this topic comes to me, I'm looking at ways for you to get the information the sooner possible. And I know that if I had to do graphic and animation and even moving pictures and things like that, that will take me a lot more time in the editing area that I will like, because I want some certain subjects to be shared with you so that you can use them, especially this year. There's so much that I've received to share with you this year that I really aim to focus on sharing that information with you, so that you can, and that information and those tools, so that you can be prepared to use them throughout the year and beyond. So that's also important for me to underline. Other than that, I mean, I'm very grateful, because I know that there are a period of time when I'm just gone. I'm always reflecting and saying, well, you know, I do have over 600 videos, 300, at least 300 that are public. So there's still a lot of content for you to revisit and go back, and especially for the type of work, because this channel is about self-development. So it's not like you watch one video and then, hey, the work is done. On the contrary, when you have a tool, you need to put that tool into practice in order to understand it, in order to see how it can shape and how it can shape your life, basically, how it can help you grow, and if it's adequate for you, if there's any twisting or tweaking that you need to do to improve it in your own experience. That's why I'm always open to like feedback. If you tell me, okay, I'm using this, or I had that type of a dream, or this and that, there's a vast amount of knowledge on the channel already, so I want to take the time also to just speak with the people who are new, who just joined in the past year or so, because a lot of you joined the channel while I was gone as well, and I know you've been going through the different videos, and I know it's maybe a bit confusing, but there's a lot of different type of information and type of I've tried to distinguish certain subjects that I think that are crucial. For example, you will find there is a series on dreams. So from time to time, I go back to this series and add on to it, because the dream world is one of the ways where, in my tradition, the Bamike tradition, we get information. You don't need to be a psychic. You don't need to be, you just go to sleep and the information can come through to you through your dreams. So this is something that, you know, sometimes no matter what culture or tradition you may be in, you may be doing dreams and not understanding what they mean. And some of the meanings that we do have in our own tradition may help you on your own path. So that's one series that you may go and look at. There's another series that's called Things to Consider. There's a number of videos in there that touch different topics and things that you should be looking at, that you should be looking at those tools to see if they fit your path, if they are maybe useful to you, maybe not now, maybe later, maybe to a friend, etc. There's also another series called Bamileke Tradition or Bamileke Spirituality, where I speak more specifically about the Bamileke tradition. And then there's a general African spirituality playlist. I just want to, for the people who are new, I just want to just reiterate or underline that African spirituality is very vast. It's like saying the continent of Africa, so it's very different. The traditions and the practice of spirituality is very different from countries to country, from ethnic group to ethnic group, and in my case, from villages to villages. So you can be in the same ethnic group, in the same country, but two people from the Bamileke tradition from different village may have different tradition from their village. And there's also from family to family, you may be doing something that's completely different. So that's why sometimes there may be somebody who comes in and say, oh, you know, I'm Bamileke or I'm from this ethnic group, and then we don't do it like that. Well, because you're not from the same village, you're not from the same family. So there may be things that your grandpa or your grandfather or forefather found out and started practicing within your own tradition, within your own family tradition, that may be useful particularly to your bloodline. And that may depart from what other Bamileke or other people in your country or your group, ethnic group are doing. I also wanted to underline that the Bamileke tradition is not a religion. You cannot convert to it. You cannot just join it like that. They have tools where they recognize other people. You can be, quote-unquote, inducted by the religious leader of a village or a kingdom, but you cannot convert to becoming a Bamileke. And I think I did a video on that in saying there's only 3 ways to get into the tradition: through marriage, to having a child that had a Bamileke parent, or a child that marries a Bamileke parent, and if you were adopted into the tradition, meaning like you were an adopted child of Bamileke, of two Bamileke, in a Bamileke family basically, who practice the tradition. So those are the 3 ways into which you could get into the tradition. But you cannot just simply, even if you are, you cannot convert to this tradition. This is what I want to say. And I think this is a very important point when we talk about the difference between spirituality and religion, the difference between African spirituality and African religion. A religion, anybody can join, anybody can convert. You are interested in that religion, you can go through you can look at the organizing systems, and you can get initiated into it, and then you are part of it. The spiritual tradition, there are different rules, and in our particular tradition, like I said, a big part of it is honoring your ancestors. So if your ancestors are not Bamileke, there's a large portion of the tradition that you cannot do. Now, as I mentioned, it doesn't mean that there isn't some interesting things, principles, tools within the Bamileke tradition that may be useful to you that you may use. But you have to have a clear understanding that it's not because you're using those tools that you're a part of the tradition. I don't know if it makes sense to you. And part of the reason why is because if you are not part of that tradition, you don't have a vested interest in it. That means you don't have a vested interest in maintaining it, in ensuring that it's not being tainted, it's not being twisted, it's not being modified anyhow. Because just like you can see some people who are Christian, and then you meet them a few years later, they're Buddhist, you meet them a few years later and they're something else, and they can go from one religion to another like that, and then there's no issues with that. But the Bamileke tradition, once you're born in it, it's your tradition. Your ancestor will remain your same ancestor no matter what tradition you switch to. So there's a big difference into it. And it also makes the tradition a little bit more sustainable in the sense that so long as you had a Bamileke ancestor, a Bamileke parent, you will have access to those ancestors. Yeah, so that's a different mention. So if you're new, just take the time to explore, to look at the videos. I'll try to see, and you will let me know. You can let me know if this is maybe useful for the newbies or people who've been on the channel for a long time. From time to time, for specific videos or new upcoming videos or updated videos, I may put a note in the communities tab or the polls or indicating, okay, before you watch this video, maybe you can go back to that video. And that may be for those of you who may feel overwhelmed because there's too many videos, too many subjects, you don't really know where to turn to. It may be a way to just revisit some of the videos, some of the content. So that's something I was thinking about that may be hopefully useful, and you'll let me know if it is. So that's that. I also wanted to talk to you about the membership channel because you've seen that there are videos that appear first in the membership area. I've been posting videos for the most part, trying to make sure that the videos that some of the videos that are requested by members or that are that may be a bit more controversial, I post first in the members area, and some of them become public, not all of them. A lot of the videos that are in the membership areas are videos that were too controversial, videos where, you know, people start arguing among themselves, which I don't really like. I do think that when it's okay to have different opinions. That's okay, but it's always required to respect what somebody else's experience is, and to keep it cordial. I'm not saying that people were not cordial. I'm just saying that some of the subjects I've seen were creating a lot of discord and negativity. And I mean, eventually I may put some of those topics back in the public area because some of those topics are important, especially when we're talking about the tradition and your ancestors and who are your ancestors. But my goal pertaining to that was to make sure also that the videos that were demonetized by YouTube for whatever reason, that they are in the membership area, so I don't just erase them or delete them, so they are there for people who are able to join the membership, who can access them, and they are subject in that membership area that I will revisit and update. So later on this year, you have a lot more content, new content exclusively for the members. Now, also, I want to thank anybody that joined the membership, because this is not something that I'm like monitoring all the time, but now that I'm seeing that there's a little bit more people in there, I really wanted to thank you, because you are helping support the production of more videos. And that leads me to my next point, because I've had people send me messages saying they're seeing the videos that are in the membership area and they wanted to see them. And to me, I would like to be able to make the videos out in the member area commercial free, so that when you go in there, you don't have to see any type of commercial. But I will wait to have a certain number of members in there in order to do that. So maybe the solution currently, I think you have to be a truth seeker level in order to view these videos in the membership. I think it's $4.99 a month. So I don't know. You let me know. Maybe I should change the membership so that starting at $1.99, anyone who signs up for the $1.99 will be able to see the videos. And maybe that will help me also make sure that I get enough people so that all of those videos are without any type of commercial, so you can watch them without being interrupted. So let me know if that's something. If you're not currently in the membership, and if that membership was at $1.99, if you will join to support that. And also, some of the perks of the membership is that if you're sending a topic request, or if you want to work with me, there are perks by you joining the membership. And so just have a look at that and let me know what you think. If there are ways for me to modify things so that it's more accessible to you guys, I'm open to doing that. And also by supporting the membership, you're supporting the channel. Therefore, you're allowing me to produce more videos, because there are topics that I'm working on, but I don't, time is a finite resource, so I don't necessarily have time to do everything. So sometimes I have to stretch it, and this is why you may wait. There may be a substantial delay between the moment you request a topic, requested a question or something like that, for me to produce a video that goes along with it. And sometimes when you have a question in the comment section, if it's something that's quick, that's easy to answer to, I'll just answer right away in the comment section. But other times when I do see that there are several people that are focusing on the same item, or that I receive a bunch of questions or messages on the same subject, for me, I think it's better to just have a video going over it, so that everyone can benefit from it. Because sometimes when you ask a question in the comment section, people who may benefit from that question may not have seen it, because they've already seen the video before you ask the question, or for whatever reason. So that's why sometimes I will still give you an answer however I can, and then I will add on to it, or I'm working on a video on that. But the timeline for that video will depend on when I have free time. But I do have a list where I pile up the different topics and questions that have been sent to me, that I've received, and that I may work on. And sometimes when I'm working on a subject and I go through my list and I see that some of the questions go through that, I answer that here and there. So once in a while you may ask a question and it gets answered in the next video, simply because the subject is tied to what I was already working on, and it doesn't take much more time for me to just go ahead and answer your question right in that particular video. Okay, the next point was also for people who ask the ways to support the channel. Of course, we talked about the membership already. The best way for you to support the channel is simply to like the video if you find it interesting, to share it, because I've never really advertised this channel. I still have a Facebook page, but I'm not really active. I'm trying to limit my time. I don't really want to continue interacting with Facebook, so I'm not really on there. But a lot of the videos were being shared by the algorithm because you guys were sharing it, were liking it. So that, just doing that, helps me a lot, and helps the channel, and helps other people basically find the channel. So that's one way that you can support it, by just liking the video, by sharing them on your social media. And for me, I'm always grateful for that. So that's kind of it pertaining to the membership. I also wanted to let you guys know that one of the reasons why my time is kind of limited, that some of the things that I had planned to do for 2024 have been changed and switched around, which is fine, because that's how life is. But there's a more bigger reason to that, because I'm currently pregnant. So my baby will be born in 2024, so the year of the dragon. That's another subject to discuss. But being in my 40s now and having a baby, I thought that was also something that I will take the time to really enjoy this experience and enjoy the lessons and the wisdom that comes with that particular experience. People say every pregnancy is different, and I can clearly say every pregnancy is different, because every child is different. And this is very synchronicity, because one of you guys, I don't remember your name, but one of you guys you came back and you said you were happy that I was back producing videos, because you were pregnant and you just gave birth, and now you were back on YouTube watching videos. And we've talked about I've talked and thought about making a mini-series and a class on the spiritual aspect of pregnancy. I know that my first video on the pregnancy as an initiation did very well, and a lot of you were interested in that, but a lot of you were not aware of that particular aspect of pregnancy. And I had thought that, okay, my first pregnancy gave me so much, I learned so much, and it expanded also my spiritual routine and my spiritual practice, my spiritual beliefs as well, because that pregnancy prepared me for so much, because that baby told me so many different things during the pregnancy. So when I was planning, I'm saying, oh yeah, this is great, I'm going to have a class on the spiritual, develop a class on the spiritual aspect of pregnancy. And then shortly after that, I found out I was pregnant. So, and this pregnancy, I'm already seeing so many things, so many nuggets of wisdom that I think once this class is finished and completed, I'm going to be so excited to share that with you, because there's so many different things from the conception, from the time that you consciously decide with your partner to have a baby, and all of the different things that you can see with nature coming to you, that you can notice, that I have noticed through this particular pregnancy, for conception, for fertility, and so much more. I don't want to I don't want to get too into it, because I'm sure a lot of you, if you've been pregnant before, or if you are looking to get pregnant at some point, I'm sure you will love this class, because I know there's a ton of information already on everything that's physical aspect of pregnancy, like the tests you need to do, the development of the baby and things like that. But I think in terms of the spiritual aspect of it, or how you're connecting with your baby, speaking to your baby throughout the pregnancy. And this is something that's not new to me now. This is something I've already done also with my first birth, being able to speak to the baby so that you can avoid certain interventions. And I'm telling you that because I've done it, so it's possible. Yeah, so anyways, just letting you know that this is also why for the first trimester I was going through a lot of different motion, a lot of different things with this particular baby that needed my full attention. And now that he's giving me more time, I'm able to get back in the routine of making videos while I'm developing this class that I'm going to be so excited to share with you. And I think that particular thing will be able to help so many of you out there, and provide that information as well. And that will be tied to so many different other things. So I'm very excited to see how this pregnancy develops, and to meet our baby, and be able to share all of that stuff with you guys. So that means at the end, I'm already working on the class as the pregnancy goes. So that class will complete. I will do probably also some other thing for postpartum as well. So the class, the class will hopefully come out this year. Otherwise, the content will be completed this year, because the baby is due this year, 2024. So you'll have it at the end of the year, or beginning of the following year. And because it's going to be a class that you'll be able to purchase, I'm probably going to be doing also a mini series on the YouTube channel, so you have some of the nuggets for people who are not necessarily looking into getting pregnant, but who are just curious. You'll have also something on the channel that you can go and just see. And for people who are preparing, or who are excited before you even watch the class on the pregnancy, the spiritual aspect of pregnancy, I highly recommend that you also, if you haven't done so yet, watch my other classes. I have 2 classes currently that you can just go and purchase and download and watch. One is about sacred cycles. Basically, is a basic introduction course on the female cycle, where I talk to you about different phases of the cycle, different things that you should be using, different things that will be beneficial to you, things that you need to be conscious of in understanding your cycle, in not demonizing your cycle, in saying how your cycle can benefit you, and things like that. And then there's another course that's called Sacred Spaces. It's also a basic class, just explain to you about energy in your space. And those 2 classes are, basic introductory classes for people who have maybe never heard of those things. So if you're more advanced, you may not go and see the class unless you want to see how I present things. And in that case, we can have another discussion on the channel about things that may be more advanced. For the people who are more advanced, things that may be more useful to you guys. But there's just 2 classes that are still available now that you can get information if you look in the description box of the videos. The information is there. So now that I think the updates, personal and channel-wise, are done, I wanted to just touch a few things in terms of what's to come, because I did exchange with some of you, so I'm working on 2 videos that may be coming out a bit later on. One video is on prayer, few things addressing few things from religions in terms of like how you pray, the way you're praying, and the explanation that's never provided or that's seldom provided to you in terms of what to do when you're praying and what's going on when you pray. So this is a video I've done a little poll to see how many of you were aware. And please tell me if your pastor, your teacher, your yoga teacher, your guru has ever told you why you need to put your hands in a specific position when you're praying, or take a specific position when you're praying, explain to you what it means and why you should be doing it or not doing it that way. If they have told you so, please let me know in the comment section what explanation they gave you, so that I can see how close or how useful the video that I'm preparing is going to be. I know in the poll most of you didn't have any explanation. You don't know why you were supposed to pray a certain way, and this is also the experience that I had initially when I grew up in the church. They're telling you to do a lot of different things, but they don't explain to you why it's important. And why it's important in all levels, not just saying because it helps you communicate with God, but why do you have to put your hand placement in a certain way? Why do you have to kneel? Do different type of things. So that's going to be an upcoming video that's going to be public. Now I'm also working on a private, on a member-only videos pertaining to blood magic. The origin of blood magic. I think this is a conversation that in the spiritual practitioner community we've had time and time again. And once again, because you already had in reference to your secret cycle, how to use your secret cycle, I think for women in particular, it's very important to understand what blood magic is, so that you can understand how you fit into that equation and where it comes from. So that's a video I'm working on. It will be in the member section as soon as it's done. And then we'll see if the members will want to allow me to put it public, or if I will provide the accessibility, to lower the accessibility, to make it more accessible for others. But the point is that because this is not a subject that may be interested for everyone, but to me it's a very important subject, because women right now, your menstrual blood, your blood is being used without your knowledge necessarily, without you being conscious of where your menstrual blood is going every month. And I think a lot of you, unless you're a practitioner, a lot of you, most women, do not know this information. And with all of the technology that we're gaining now, there's a lot of things that is being done with the fragment of your blood that ends up in the system, that ends up in the sewage system. So to me, that was a very important point. And like I've mentioned before, usually when I deal with a subject such as blood magic, I usually go around, as part of my research, I usually go around and see what's already being produced on YouTube, because I do not want to just regurgitate or reiterate things that are already there unless there's a specific contribution I can make to it. And I've seen that there's a lot of information about blood magic that's not being shared, that's not being explained, the potency of your blood, how the tradition of blood magic even started to begin with. And more particularly within the African tradition, where it came from, and why we began to use it to begin with, and who was using it to begin it with. So that video is still in the works, but it's coming. And you'll have the next mini-series that I'm working on, as I've already mentioned, is going to be a mini-series that's going to touch on each of the suggestions that I made for you for 2024. I think that will enable us to discuss each of the suggestions in a separate videos, and I'm trying to add on to the videos things that you have requested, recommendation for books, for resources. So I will put in the description box for the videos books you can go and read and buy and purchase and whatever you, or borrow at the library. YouTube channels that may be having a lot of information, useful information about that. YouTube channels that I do watch and things like that. And that will enable us in the comment section to share also if you're watching other channels or other things that are useful, so that for each of the suggestions, we build up in the comment section of the community resources that we can find, search, use, and gather up. And that's really my priority, to be able to develop that mini-series and complete it. Because I think this is the earlier we go through all of these different suggestions and that you express your concern or your comments or your challenges, the easier we can help you address them, so that you get prepared and you continue to be prepared for what's to come, because really the changes that are to come are really going to require most of us to be ready so that we can help those who are not. And so it's going to be easier if most of the more people are ready, and the more we'll be in a better position to help those who are still in the process of getting ready. So that's really my priority. And lastly, Matt, episode 25 is done. It's going to come out on Valentine's Day, so you'll have that, and I will make it a premiere so that people who are available that day can watch it together. Yeah, and then that's it. So I'm still very grateful that a lot of you guys stick around, despite the time that I left, that the channel kept growing even without me being there, which also a testimony of the importance of and the interest that people have in that work. I hope that those of you who are watching who are not subscribed do subscribe to the channel, and I just feel so really grateful that I can still continue to share some of that information with you, and that you find in whatever I'm sharing something that's going to be useful to your own particular path, and that you feel empowered and encouraged in the path that you're on, into bettering yourself, into becoming the human being that you should be, and the person that you aspire to be. So with all of that, of course, let me know what you think in the comment section.